Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man. I extended the voting rights 25 years. I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP has endorsed me every time I've run. I mean, come on.
A few years later.
And two of the great artists of our time representing the groundbreaking legacy of hip-hop in America, LL Cool J. By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs. I think he's been. And MC Light, both of you, thank you. Because they both have the light off on the mic, you know you're all here to listen to the new edition. Mike Bivens, 40 years producing music that lifts our souls.
LL Cool J. We'll get back to that in a second. A lot of people are upset that Joe Biden referred to LL Cool J as a boy. As you can hear, he corrected himself on the spot. You know why Joe Biden corrected himself? Because he's 137 years old. He fully understands the word boy in the racial context around a white man referring to a black man as boy. See, boy is absolutely a white racist word when used in a certain context. And I know that because I'm from South Carolina, dropping the clues bombs from South Carolina. And because I was raised watching Good Times, okay? And a young scholar by the name of Michael Evans broke that down to us why boy is a white racist word, if I'm not mistaken. It was season 1, episode 9. You remember this, right?
Boy is a white racist word.
That's all you needed to hear, okay? Once you knew that, you understood that boy was a white racist word. When the word boy is referred when somebody uses the word boy to refer to an adult black man and the speaker is white, that takes on a whole different point.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Sleepy Joe Biden, or Jim Crow Joe, right? Jim Crow Joe, that's what I'm calling him, okay? Jim Crow Joe is lost in the sauce, okay? He's lost in the sauce, okay? He had a meeting with the president of Brazil, and apparently Joe Biden was running into flagpoles and also forgetting to shake the hand of the Brazilian president, in which, you know, the Brazilian president visibly got upset at Biden not shaking his hand or seemingly forgetting to shake his hand.
President of the United States and the President of the Federative Republic of Brazil, accompanied by the Director General of the International Labor Organization.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Joe Biden may be forgetting where he is, but he certainly hasn't forgot who he is, and who Joe Biden is at his core is an old Dixiecrat, right? He's a Dixiecrat, okay? And once again, he's proven that, hey, he might be a racist, right? He might be a racist. I don't know, okay? I'm just saying. He tends to have these slip-ups that really make people ask questions about Joe, okay, and some of his feelings towards black people, okay? At the beginning of this video, you saw he told Charlamagne Tha God, you ain't black if you don't want to vote for me over Trump. And then he just made a huge mistake at the Congressional Black Caucus dinner where he referred to the rapper LL Cool J as boy, which is interesting because it seemed like Biden didn't really know who LL Cool J was. He messed up LL Cool J's name. And this is despite the fact that just a couple years ago, Biden was having a Christmas celebration with LL Cool J. And apparently at that celebration, he didn't know who LL Cool J was as well because he thought that LL Cool J played football or something.
And a special thanks to tonight's host, LL Cool J. I tell you what, man, he looks like he can still play. And I'm not talking about instruments. I'm talking about football or something. The man is, anyway, I tell you what.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? Biden seemed to be very close to calling LL Cool J a big strapping buck, right? That is what it seemed like to me. I'm just saying, I don't know, okay? I got questions about Jim Crow Joe, who used to hang out with, you know, Grand Cyclops of the KKK. you know, I'm not surprised about the things that he says out loud in public when he, you know, kind of goes off script or whatever. But you do have some black voters who are reacting to what Joe Biden said, and they're not only trashing him for what he said, but also because of the state of the economy and the job that he has done as president, which has been just absolutely horrible. Take a look.
Everybody, thanks for getting up early with us this morning. Darnisha, I want to go to you first. You said you were not shocked by these numbers in this poll. Why was that?
I'm not shocked because there are so many unanswered promises and there's so many missed opportunities to actually do the right thing. So I don't have much faith, and I wasn't very shocked of the numbers of the poll personally. And then Chris, you kind of said the same thing as far as there was no shock to this. You are actually, you're a father of three. You own your own business. You voted for Biden in 2020, but you switched parties in 2022. What was the leading factor and really the driving force behind you switching parties after voting for him?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I'm just not, honestly surprised about how Biden is. I feel like a lot of people, they're starting to see Biden for who he truly is. He's just a lying crook who has, empty promises. He's told people what they wanted to hear in order to, get their votes. And he doesn't and he didn't put, the American people first. And, in my opinion, I just feel like he's just not mentally stable. He shouldn't be running the country. A lot of Americans, they're living paycheck to paycheck underneath his administration. Where the same Americans were thriving underneath Trump administration. Yeah,
America is almost unrecognizable when you're having trouble putting food on the table or choosing to do that or put gas in your car to get to work. Jason, the next question goes to you. You said these early poll numbers don't faze you that much, but age is a concern for you. Is that the age of President Biden? Is that the age of all candidates? What are you looking for?
Currently, that is the age of both of the current top candidates. Right now, as you see with Biden's latest blunder with the boy statement, that just shows age appropriation. That shows being able to be aware of the times that we're currently in. So my biggest concern for both candidates is not only the age, but how they're going to be able to handle the current personal issues that they're having, along with their family issues.
Yeah, really quickly before I move on, 62% of voters don't approve of how Biden is handling immigration at the U.S.-Mexico border, and then 30% approve of the economy, 64% disapprove. So his numbers, they're really in the tank right now. But I do want to get to this topic. I'm going to ask Darnisha and Chris to respond to this, since, Jason, you already kind of hit on that. But President Biden, he is getting a lot of heat after this awkward moment with rapper LL Cool J. Listen.
Two of the great artists of our time representing the groundbreaking legacy of hip-hop in America, LL Cool J. By the way, that man's got biceps bigger than my thighs.
Darnisha, really quickly, was this offensive to you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's 2023. It's very unacceptable to speak and use that language. I'm referring to my community. He should know better by now. So I was very upset about that. And then, Chris, what did you make of those comments?
Yeah, I just feel like this is just like another example of, how Biden truly feels about the black community. This isn't the first time he referred to a black man as a boy. It's most likely not going to be the last one. And it kind of goes back to the whole, if you don't vote for me, you're black. He has this you're not black, excuse me. He has this slave master mentality. I feel like he doesn't really care what he says because he knows the majority of black people are still going to vote for him. I mean, even I was foolish enough to do so back then, but thank God I learned from that awful mistake.
Yeah, I believe what you told our producers was you learned your lesson. Darnisha, Chris, and Jason.
Yeah, so you've seen that, you heard that. Now, Joe Biden is making these slip-ups as polls are showing that particularly among non-white voters, they're just not that excited about Joe Biden this time around as they was in 2020.
And how enthusiastic are you about the presidential election? And you can see Republican to Democrat, there is a gap right there. Where's the lag for Democrats? We found a couple places. Non-white voters, you can see significantly less enthusiastic than white voters. And then how about this age gap? The youngest group of voters who Democrats have been trying to get excited and motivated, nearly 50-point gap there.
So really an uphill battle to try to make sure voters don't stay home if you're Democrats.
Yeah, that's it. And the problem for Democrats, too, the lack of enthusiasm about the election, there's clearly a lack of enthusiasm about the president himself, because we asked primary voters on the Democratic side, do you want options next year besides Biden? 59% said yes, they do. This is not a normal number for an incumbent. We asked the same question a year before Donald Trump sought re-election of Republicans. Only 37% wanted more choices then. That's a very high number.
Yeah, this is like the inverse of each other, these two numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it raises the question, too, what else concerns Democrats? And I think this gets to sort of the elephant in the room here. Biden's age and fitness. So, I mean, look at this contrast. We have talked so much about Donald Trump, the indictments, the legal woes. They are clearly a major or moderate concern to the majority of Americans. But Biden's age and fitness for office, almost 3 out of 4 in our poll. This is Democrats, Republicans, independents say it's a major or moderate concern for them. How about Trump? He's only a few years younger than Biden. A full 27-point gap right there. This is looming as a major problem for the president.
Yeah, I agree. Biden does have major problems, and it definitely doesn't help when he comes out here and he calls a black man, a grown 50-plus-year-old man, a boy, right? And, you know, again, I don't necessarily have issues with Joe Biden's mistake in the sense that as a black person, I'm not super offended about what Joe Biden said. I mean, he said it on accident, even though, you know, hey, I know old Jim Crow Joe, right? Dixiecrat Joe. Okay, I know that's how he refers to black folks. I know exactly how he feels. I know the real Joe, okay? Right? So I know that the woke Joe that the Democrat Party is pushing is a farce. It's fake, right? I know that for a fact. However, again, I'm not offended by it. However, it is something to be said about what would be the reaction if a Republican said that, okay? If a Republican came out here and called a grown black man a boy, the mainstream liberal media would be losing their minds, okay? When Joe does it, oh, it's okay because he's a Democrat. He gets a pass, okay? You guys remember the GOP congressman that happened to call black people, or refer to people as colored folks, right? Or colored people, right? The Democrats lost their mind, even though they always use the term people of color. But apparently calling people colored or colored people is a problem. But again, you can call people people of color. Again, Democrats always get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to allegations of racism. And I think that's the most frustrating part about this, is that Joe Biden doesn't seem to get the criticism that he deserves for comments that he's made in the past that does suggest that he may hold some prejudices and biases towards black people. Now, again, do I think that that's illegal? No. Do I think that that should disqualify him? No. But again, the way that Republicans and conservatives are smeared for having these same biases, or signs that they may have this sort of bias, leads me to believe that, hey, maybe Joe Biden should be criticized in the same way. It is the hypocrisy of the fact that conservatives don't get the benefit of the doubt, while people like Joe Biden, who has a history of hanging out with racists and making these types of comments towards black people, they seem to overlook it, right? Even the black bourgeoisie race hustlers of America, people like Roland Martin, the Joy Reids of the world, the Democrat Party cheerleaders, they overlook Joe Biden's blatant racism in ways that they never would if a Republican said what Joe Biden said, right? Could you imagine Trump or Ron DeSantis, again, calling a black man boy? Okay, can you imagine the outrage from those individuals? They would be pointing at that as an example of overt racism. See, this person's a racist. He calls black men boys, just like slave masters used to do back in the day, right? This is what they be saying. But because it's Joe Biden, he gets away with it. And with that being said, again, I got to question the black America. What reasons do you have to vote for Joe Biden? Now, again, you know, if you don't want to vote for Trump, hey, you know, I don't think that your feelings are grounded in reality. I don't think that is necessarily logical, okay? I don't agree with it, but, you know, hey, that's fine, right? I don't need you to vote for Trump, right? I just need for you to not vote for Biden, right? If you want to just sit out the election, great. But what reason do any black person in this country have to actually vote for Joe Biden? There are zero reasons, okay? So again, comments like this are not going to help him out, especially considering how you're seeing black voters slowly, very slowly, at a snail's pace, move away from the Democrat Party. But again, with the state of the economy and comments like this, hey, you could see it speed up. Now, again, I don't have faith in black people to significantly change our voting habits, but Joe Biden, again, he's not really helping the Democrats' cause, right? In regards to how he's running the country. And along with these comments, I think that you could see the tide change in 2024. Lord knows I'm praying for that to happen. But we'll see. Again, Joe Biden seems to continue to get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to these comments. And we know that if you're a Republican or a conservative, you would not get that benefit of the doubt. And I think that's the big issue here is the overt hypocrisy of Biden not receiving any criticism for these types of comments. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.